Welcome to Brew Cheese, where we brew up the finest of cheese. I'm Travis, and thanks for tuning in. If you're new to our channel, we brew up commander decks on a budget, often with an unexpected twist. My builds use a $100 budget and do not include the cost of the commander. If you like what you hear, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Today's video features Emmara, Soul of the Accord. This Selesnya commander, while only a 2/2, has a powerful ability. Every time she becomes tapped, no matter how it happens, she creates a 1/1 soldier with lifelink. Obviously, this lends itself to a token build, so naturally, we're focusing on Voltron. We start off our ramp package with Cultivate and Kodama's Reach. These two cards are essentially carbon copies of each other. Each allows you to search your deck for 2 basic lands, putting one into play tapped and the other into your hand. Farseek and Rampant Growth are very similar to each other, the only difference being that Farseek does not allow you to search for a forest, but the plains in this case does not have to be a basic one. Harrow allows you to fetch 2 basics onto the field untapped at the additional cost of sacrificing a land, at instant speed no less. Sakura Tribe Elder fetches a basic land when it is sacrificed, preferably after blocking and before damage is dealt. Cryptolith Rite turns all of our creatures into faux birds of paradise. Springleaf Drum taps for a mana of any color as long as we also tap an untapped creature we control. We finish our ramp with the commander staple, Sol Ring. Our draw package begins with the token deck staple, Skull Clamp. All the tokens we generate with Emmara can be turned into 2 cards off the top of our deck. With Idol of Oblivion out, we can draw a card during a turn we create a token. Later in the game, it can be turned into a 10/10 token. Mentor of the Meek also functions nicely with our commander's token generation. Each time a creature with power 2 or less enters our battlefield, we can pay 1 to draw a card. Tome of Legends enters with a page counter, then gets another counter each time Emmara attacks or enters the battlefield. Then, by paying 1, removing a counter and tapping it, we draw a card. SRAM, Senior Edificer, draws us a card anytime we cast an aura or equipment on a 2/2 body. Similarly, Satyr Enchanter has a 2/2 body and has us draw a card anytime we cast an enchantment. While this deck doesn't focus on life gain, with the tokens Emmara creates having lifelink, we run Well of Lost Dreams. This lets us pay up to the amount of life gain to draw that many cards. Camaraderie gains us X life and draws X cards, where X equals the number of creatures we control. It also provides a minor anthem for the rest of the turn. Soul's Majesty draws us cards equal to the power of target creature we control. Snake Umbra gives a creature +1/+1 and allows us to draw a card if the enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent. Infiltration Lens draws us 2 cards if the equipped creature is blocked. As is the case in Voltron decks, we are running a large number of equipment and a fair amount of auras. Behemoth Sledge and Unflinching Courage have identical effects and mana cost. Both provide a +2/+2 bonus, trample, and lifelink. The only difference is that Sledge is an equipment that costs 3 to equip, and Unflinching Courage is an aura. Loxodon Warhammer grants a +3 bonus to power only, along with trample and lifelink. Prowler's Helm makes the equipped creature unblockable by non-wall creatures. Not useful against the rare Arcades deck, but perfectly functional in most metas. Pen and Blade gives a +1/+1 bonus to the equipped creature for each creature we control. Since Emmara creates a token when we attack, the power bump occurs before the damage step. Eidolon of Countless Battles is a creature with Bestow. The creature enchanted by the Eidolon gains a +1/+1 for each creature we control and each aura we control. Sadly, the Eidolon does not count twice. When the enchanted creature leaves play, the Eidolon drops off and becomes a creature itself with the same power and toughness it was providing. All that glitters is an aura that gives +1/+1 for each artifact and/or enchantment we control. Ancestral Mask gives a +2/+2 bonus for each other enchantment on the battlefield. Golem Skin Gauntlets grants a +1 power bonus for each equipment attached to the equipped creature. Blackblade Reforged gives +1/+1 for each land you control. It also equips to a legendary creature for only 3 mana as opposed to 7 for a non-legendary. Fire Shrieker provides double strike. When combined with our Quietus Spike, which grants Death Touch, we can wipe out most, if not all, creatures assigned to block. Add Trample and things get deadly, as the spike cuts the life total of an opponent hit by the equipped creature in half. Kusarigama can be a one-sided board wipe if the defending player blocks the equipped creature. It allows us to pay 2 mana for a fire-breathing effect. Whenever the equipped creature deals damage to a blocking creature, Kusarigama deals that much damage to each other creature the defending player controls. Note, the damage to the other creatures comes from the Kusarigama, not the equipped creature, so Death Touch will not apply. Lurking in the deck is a hidden threat. We are running the Helm, Shield, and Sword of Kaldra. The sword gives a +5/+5 boost and removes any creature dealt damage by the equipped creature from the game. The Shield of Kaldra makes both the equipped creature and all of the Kaldra equipment indestructible. Both the sword and shield equip for 4 mana. The Helm equips for 2, grants First Strike, Trample, and Haste. In addition, if you have all 3 of these artifacts out, you can pay 1 to create a 4/4 colorless legendary avatar named, you guessed it, Kaldra. Then all 3 of these artifacts equip automatically to it. Keep in mind, the creation effect and equip effect happen at instant speed. While the odds of having all 3 of these on the field at once are rare, if it happens. While not set in stone, a Voltron build usually implies a single creature attacking. This leads us to the Exalted keyword to provide a power boost. Angelic Benediction is an enchantment that, in addition to Exalted, taps a creature whenever we attack with a single creature. Battle Grace Angel is a 4/4 flying angel with Exalted that grants lifelink to a lone attacker. Knight of Glory is a 2/1 human knight with Exalted and protection from black. He can also serve as an alternate attacker against mono or heavy black decks. Kasali Pride Mage is a 2/2 cat wizard with Exalted that can be sacrificed to destroy an artifact or equipment. Sublime Angel is a 4/3 angel with flying and Exalted that also grants Exalted to all of our other creatures. Unlike many other keywords, each instance of Exalted triggers separately. Angelic Exaltation grants a +X/+X bonus to a lone attacker, where X is the number of creatures we control. Knotvine Paladin is another potential attacker, as he gains +1/+1 for each untapped creature we control whenever he attacks. This on a 2/2 body. Sigil of Valor is a 2-drop equipment that provides a +1/+1 bonus for each other creature we control if the equipped creature attacks alone. Elder of Laurels, a 2/3 human advisor, grants a +X/+X boost to a target creature for each 3 and a green we pay. The main weakness of a Voltron build is the single creature we are building up. We need to protect it. Gift of Immortality returns the enchanted creature to the battlefield when it dies, then the aura itself reattaches to that creature at the end of the turn. We have to actually let Emmara go to the graveyard for this effect to occur, however. Sheltering Light is an instant that grants a single target indestructible until end of turn and allows us to scry 1. Shield of the Oversoul is an aura that grants a green creature a +1/+1 boost and indestructible, and a white creature a +1/+1 boost and flying. A green-white creature like Emmara gets both of these effects. God's Willing grants protection from a color of our choice for a single turn at instant speed and a scry 1. It is important to be careful with this spell, as declaring protection from white or green can cause our auras and equipment of those colors to fall off. Spectral Ward is an aura that provides a +2/+2 bonus and protection from all colors. However, unlike God's Willing, Spectral Ward specifically states that it does not remove auras. It will detach any colored equipment attached to the enchanted creature, but does not block our colorless equipment from attaching. Mask of Avacyn provides a +1/+2 bonus and hexproof. Ring of Evos Isle seems like an odd addition, as we have exactly 0 blue cards in our deck. However, it does allow us to tap 2 mana and give the equipped creature hexproof until the end of the turn. Of course, we include Swiftfoot Boots and Whisper Silk Cloak. The boots grant hexproof and haste, and the cloak grants shroud and makes the equipped creature unblockable. Note that the cloak will have to be moved to a different creature if you wish to add any other auras or equipment. I will admit that I have focused on making this an extremely aggressive deck. As such, I have somewhat skimped on targeted removal and board wipes. Divine Reckoning is a 4-cost sorcery that destroys all creatures each player controls except for one chosen by that player. It can also flash back for 7 mana. Single Combat is a 5-cost sorcery that has each player choose a single creature or planeswalker, then sacrifice the rest. Then, creature and planeswalker spells cannot be cast until the end of our next turn. Return to Nature is an instant that can destroy an artifact or enchantment, or exile a target card in a graveyard. Slice in Twain is an instant that destroys an artifact or enchantment and draws us a card. With all of these equipment and auras, it sure would be nice if they were more efficient, wouldn't it? Brass Squire is a 1/3 mirror artifact creature that can tap at instant speed to attach an equipment to a creature. Sigarda's Aid allows us to cast aura and equipment at instant speed. We don't really care too much about this effect, as the second effect is much more interesting to us. Whenever an equipment enters the battlefield, we can go ahead and attach it to a creature for free. Denethor Capashen Paragon is a 2/2 human knight with first strike, vigilance, and lifelink. She also reduces the mana cost of auras and equipment by 1 generic mana. Return of the Wild Speaker is a 5-cost instant that can either refill our hand or act as a stampede effect, granting all of our non-human creatures +3/+3 until end of turn. Selesnya Charm grants trample and +2/+2 until end of turn, or exiles a creature with power 5 or greater, or creates a 2/2 white knight token with vigilance. We end our deck with its lifeblood, lands. Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse are obvious. Each taps and sacrifices and allows us to search for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Cathedral of War enters the battlefield tapped and taps for 1 colorless mana, but is a source of Exalted. Command Tower taps for 1 mana in our commander's color identity. Fortified Village taps for a green or white and enters tapped unless you reveal a forest or plains card from your hand. Scattered Groves also taps for a green and white, enters tapped, but can be cycled away for 2 mana. It also has the types of forest and plains. Grasslands enters the battlefield tapped, then can be tapped and sacrificed to search for a forest or plains. Note this land does not have to be a basic land, and it puts the fetch card onto the battlefield untapped. Croson Verge enters tapped, taps for a colorless, or can be tapped and sacrificed along with paying 2 mana to fetch a forest and a plains, again not necessarily basic, and puts them into play tapped. Naya Panorama taps for 1 colorless and can be tapped and sacrificed along with paying 1 to fetch a basic forest or plains out onto the battlefield tapped. Survivor's Encampment and Holdout Settlement are functionally identical. Each can be tapped for 1 colorless or can be tapped along with an untapped creature to generate 1 mana of any color. The encampment is also a desert type. Selesnya Sanctuary enters tapped and bounces a land to our hand. It does tap for 1 green and 1 white. Our last non-basic is Rogue's Passage. It taps for 1 colorless or can be tapped along with 4 mana to make target creature unblockable this turn. Note, this effect does not have to be used on your own creature. I have been on the wrong end of an opponent using this effect on another opponent's creatures. Finally, we end with 11 forests and 12 plains. The total cost for this deck came up to $98.33. These prices are powered by TCG Player, not a sponsor, using optimized pricing. The total does include shipping, does not include the commander, and allows for any condition up to heavily played. Thank you for watching, and if you like what we're doing here, subscribe and share this video with a friend. Please leave a comment telling us what we missed, what you'd like to see in the future, or what you think of the channel. See you again next video.